The Chase Center in San Francisco buzzed with the electric energy that only a Warriors home game could generate. 18,000 fans filled every seat, their voices creating a thunderous symphony of anticipation. The Golden State Warriors were facing the Denver Nuggets in what promised to be a nail-biting showdown. But for 10-year-old Maya Thompson, this wasn't just another basketball game. It was the culmination of a dream she'd harbored for 3 years. Maya sat in the nosebleed section, with her grandmother Dorothy, clutching a worn Warriors jersey with Curry's number 30 emblazoned on the back. The jersey, slightly too big for her small frame, had been a birthday gift from her grandmother, who had saved for months working double shifts at the local diner to afford it. Maya's eyes sparkled with pure joy as she watched her hero warm up on the court below, his signature three-pointers seeming effortless even from this distance. "Grandma, do you think he can see us from up here?" Maya asked, her voice barely audible over the crowd's roar. Dorothy smiled, adjusting her granddaughter's jersey. "Baby, that man's got eyes like a hawk. He probably sees every single person in this arena." Maya had been fascinated by Stephen Curry since she first saw him play when she was 7. It wasn't just his incredible skill that captivated her. It was the way he carried himself, the joy he brought to the game, and how he seemed to genuinely care about his fans. In their small Oakland apartment, Maya had countless posters of Curry covering her bedroom walls, and she'd spend hours practicing his signature moves in the community center's basketball court. As the national anthem concluded and the players took their positions, Maya's heart raced with anticipation. She had begged her grandmother for months to bring her to a Warriors game, promising to do extra chores and maintain perfect attendance at school. Dorothy, despite their tight budget, couldn't resist her granddaughter's passionate plea. The first quarter unfolded with typical Warriors precision. Curry orchestrated plays with the grace of a conductor leading a symphony, his passes crisp and his three-point shots finding their mark with remarkable consistency. With each basket, Maya jumped from her seat, her enthusiasm infectious to the fans around her. An elderly man sitting next to them chuckled at her excitement. "First game?" he asked kindly. "Yes, sir," Maya replied, her smile radiant. "I've been dreaming about this forever." During a timeout, the arena's jumbotron panned across the crowd, highlighting enthusiastic fans. Maya waved frantically whenever the camera seemed to point in her direction, hoping against hope that somehow, someway, her hero might notice her among the sea of faces. As the first quarter came to a close with the Warriors leading 28-24, Maya turned to her grandmother with determination burning in her young eyes. "Grandma, I have to try to get closer. I have to ask Mr. Curry for a picture." Dorothy's expression grew concerned. "Sweetie, security won't let us down there. Those seats cost more than I make in a month." But Maya's resolve was unshakable. She had come too far and dreamed too long to let this opportunity slip away. "Please, Grandma, just let me try. What's the worst that could happen?" As halftime approached and the players headed toward the tunnel, Maya made a decision that would change not only her life, but touch the hearts of millions around the world. With her grandmother reluctantly following, she began making her way down the steep arena steps, her small heart pounding with nervous excitement and unwavering hope. The second quarter had just begun when Maya started her descent through the Chase Center's maze of concourses and stairwells. Her grandmother Dorothy followed closely behind, worry etched across her weathered face as she watched her determined granddaughter navigate through clusters of fans heading to concession stands. "Maya, honey, slow down," Dorothy called out, slightly breathless from trying to keep pace. "Those security guards aren't going to just let you walk up to the court." But Maya's focus was laser-sharp. She had studied the arena layout on her phone during the ride over, memorizing every possible route to get closer to the court. Her small frame allowed her to weave through crowds more easily than adults, and her genuine excitement seemed to open doors, literally and figuratively. As they descended to the lower level, the atmosphere grew more intense. The crowd's energy was palpable, and Maya could feel her heart racing not just from the physical exertion, but from the growing proximity to her dream. The sounds of sneakers squeaking on hardwood, The referee's whistle and the crowd's reactions became more vivid with each step down. "Excuse me, young lady." A security guard in a yellow vest stepped into Maya's path as she approached the lower bowl entrance. "Can I see your tickets?" Maya's heart sank as she fumbled for the tickets in her back pocket. The section numbers clearly indicated seats in the upper deck, nowhere near where she was trying to go. Dorothy caught up, placing a protective hand on Maya's shoulder. "We're just trying to get a quick look at the court, sir," Dorothy explained politely. "It's her first game, and she's such a big fan of Stephen Curry." The security guard, a middle-aged African-American man named Marcus, looked down at Maya's hopeful face and noticed the genuine passion in her eyes. His own daughter was about Maya's age and shared the same love for basketball. Something about the little girl's determination reminded him of his own childhood dreams. "I tell you what," Marcus said, his stern expression softening. "The third quarter's about to start. If you promise to stay right here by this railing and not try to go any closer, you can watch from here for a few minutes. But when I say it's time to go back to your seats, no arguments. Deal?" Maya's face lit up like the 4th of July. "Yes, sir, I promise." From their new vantage point, Maya could see the players with crystal clarity. She watched as Curry jogged back onto the court, his pre-game ritual of dribbling and shooting practice shots seeming almost magical from this distance. The arena's energy was intoxicating, and Maya found herself completely absorbed in every play. During a timeout midway through the third quarter, something unexpected happened. As the Warriors huddled near their bench, Curry's eyes began scanning the crowd. It was something he did regularly, connecting with fans, acknowledging their support, drawing energy from their enthusiasm. His gaze swept across the lower bowl, and for just a moment it seemed to pause on a small figure near the railing. Maya, wearing his jersey and waving with unbridled enthusiasm, caught his attention. Even from across the court, Curry could see something special in this young fan's energy. He smiled and gave a small wave in her direction before returning his focus to the coach's instructions. Maya gasped, grabbing her grandmother's arm. "Grandma, did you see that? He waved at me. Stephen Curry waved at me." Dorothy smiled, though she wasn't entirely sure if the wave was specifically for Maya or just a general acknowledgement of the fans in that section. But seeing her granddaughter's joy, she didn't have the heart to express any doubt. As the third quarter wound down, Marcus the security guard approached them again. "All right, ladies, time to head back up to your seats. The crowd's going to get crazy in the fourth quarter." Maya nodded respectfully, but as they began walking back toward the upper deck, she turned to her grandmother with a newfound determination. "Grandma, I know this sounds crazy, but I think he saw me. I think Mr. Curry actually noticed me." What Maya didn't know was that her brief moment of connection with her hero was just the beginning of an evening that would touch millions of hearts and remind the world why sports have the power to bring out the very best in humanity. The fourth quarter was a masterclass in basketball artistry, with Stephen Curry orchestrating a comeback that had the entire Chase Center on its feet. With just 2 minutes left on the clock, the Warriors had erased a 12-point deficit, and the arena's energy reached a fever pitch. Maya and Dorothy had returned to their upper deck seats, but Maya's mind kept drifting back to that moment when she thought Curry had noticed her. As the final buzzer sounded with the Warriors securing a thrilling 118-112 victory, Maya made a decision that would require every ounce of courage her 10-year-old heart could muster. While other fans began filing toward the exits, she turned to her grandmother with pleading eyes. "Grandma, please, just one more try. I have to at least ask." Dorothy looked at her granddaughter's face, the same expression of determination she'd inherited from her late father, Dorothy's son who had passed away when Maya was just 5. He had been a dreamer too, always believing that anything was possible with enough heart and courage. "All right, baby," Dorothy said softly, "but this is our last chance. After this we head home, okay?" Maya nodded eagerly, and together they made their way back down through the thinning crowd. The arena was still buzzing with post-game energy, but most fans were heading toward the exits, discussing the incredible comeback they'd just witnessed. When they reached the lower level again, Marcus the security guard was still at his post, directing the flow of departing fans. He spotted Maya immediately and walked over with a knowing smile. "Let me guess," he said with a chuckle. "You're not ready to give up yet, are you?" Maya shook her head, her eyes bright with determination. "Sir, I just want to ask Mr. Curry for one picture. Just one. I've been dreaming about meeting him for so long." Marcus looked around the arena. The players were still on the court, some giving interviews to reporters, others signing autographs for fans in the premium seats near the tunnel. It was chaos, but organized chaos, the kind that happened after every home victory. "You know what?" Marcus said, making a decision that surprised even himself. "Follow me. I can't promise anything, but let's see if we can get you a little closer." Maya's heart pounded as Marcus led them along the concourse toward the area where players typically entered and exited. The crowd here was thicker, season ticket holders, VIPs, and media personnel all hoping for their own moment with the team. As they approached the tunnel area, Maya could see several Warriors players signing autographs and taking pictures with fans. The energy was different here, more intense, more exclusive. She felt simultaneously out of place and exactly where she belonged. "Now listen," Marcus said, crouching down to Maya's level. "If I can get you close enough, you'll have maybe 30 seconds. You be polite. You say thank you. And if he can't stop, you accept that gracefully. Understood?" Maya nodded solemnly. "Yes, sir. I understand." As they waited near the designated fan area, Maya practiced what she would say in her head. "Mr. Curry, could I please have a picture with you? I'm your biggest fan." She repeated it silently, her palms growing sweaty with nervous anticipation. Then, as if summoned by her dreams, Stephen Curry emerged from the tunnel area, his post-game routine complete. He was walking toward the exit, his security detail maintaining a respectful distance as he interacted with fans along the way. Maya watched as he signed jerseys, took selfies, and shared brief conversations with supporters of all ages. Marcus gently guided Maya to a spot along the rope line where fans were gathered. "This is it," he whispered. "Remember what I said." As Curry approached their section, Maya felt her voice catch in her throat. All the practice, all the preparation, and suddenly she couldn't remember a single word she'd planned to say. But then Curry's eyes met hers, and something magical happened. The same recognition from earlier in the game, but stronger now, more personal. Curry paused in front of Maya, and the noise of the crowd seemed to fade away. "Hey there," he said with his characteristic warm smile. "I remember you from earlier. You were really cheering loud up there." Maya's eyes widened in amazement. He actually remembered her. Finding her voice, she managed to speak, though it came out barely above a whisper. "Mr. Curry, could I please have just one picture with you?" What happened next would be replayed millions of times across social media platforms worldwide. But for Maya, it felt like time had stopped completely. Curry's response would transform a simple request into a moment that would restore faith in humanity and remind the world that sometimes the smallest gestures create the biggest impact. Stephen Curry looked down at Maya, and something in her hopeful expression reminded him of his own daughters, the pure, unfiltered joy that children bring to every moment. But as he really took in the scene before him, he noticed details that spoke to a deeper story. The slightly worn jersey that was clearly treasured, the way her grandmother stood protectively behind her, and the unmistakable gleam of someone who had traveled far, not just physically, but emotionally, to be in this moment. "Of course we can take a picture," Curry said, but then he paused, looking around at the crowd of onlookers and media personnel. "But you know what? This feels like it deserves something special." Before anyone could process what was happening, Curry did something unprecedented. He unclipped the rope barrier and stepped fully into the fan area, then knelt down to Maya's eye level, a gesture that immediately caught the attention of every camera and phone in the vicinity. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Maya," she replied, her voice still filled with disbelief that this was actually happening. "Maya, that's a beautiful name. Tell me, how long have you been a Warriors fan?" "Since I was 7, Mr. Curry. I practice your moves at the community center every day after school." Curry's smile grew wider. "Every day? That's dedication. Can you show me your favorite move? The crowd that had gathered around them grew silent, sensing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Maya looked around, nervously at all the faces staring at her, but Curry's encouraging nod gave her confidence. Right there in the Chase Center concourse, Maya demonstrated a crossover dribble move she'd been perfecting for months. It wasn't perfect. Her small hands made the ball control challenging, but her form and determination were unmistakable. "That's fantastic!" Curry exclaimed, and the sincerity in his voice was evident to everyone watching. "You've got real potential, Maya. Keep working on that." But Curry wasn't finished. He stood up and addressed the crowd that had gathered around them, his voice carrying the same authority he commanded on the basketball court. "You know, everyone always asks me about my favorite moments in basketball," he began, his words drawing complete silence from the crowd. "They think it's the championships, or the records, or the big games. But honestly, it's moments like this. It's seeing young people like Maya who remind me why we play this game." He turned back to Maya, and what he said next would be shared across every major news outlet and social media platform within hours. "Maya, I want you to know something. You didn't just ask me for a picture tonight. You reminded me of something important. You reminded me that every time we step on that court, we're not just playing for ourselves. We're playing for dreamers like you." Then Curry did something that left the entire gathering speechless. He took off the game-worn jersey he'd just used to lead the Warriors to victory, a jersey that would typically be kept as a memento or given to the team's equipment managers, and held it out to Maya. "This is the jersey I just played in tonight. I want you to have it, and I want you to promise me something. Every time you put this on, remember that your dreams matter. Your hard work matters. And no matter where you come from or what challenges you face, you belong in any arena you choose to enter." Maya stared at the jersey in disbelief, tears beginning to form in her eyes. The crowd around them had grown to nearly 100 people, all completely silent as they witnessed this unprecedented act of generosity. "But that's not all," Curry continued, his voice growing stronger with emotion. "Maya, I want you and your grandmother to be my personal guests at our next home game. Courtside seats, and I want you to meet the whole team." The crowd erupted in applause and cheers, but Maya barely heard them. She was crying now, not from sadness, but from pure, overwhelming joy. Dorothy, tears streaming down her own face, stepped forward and hugged Curry. "Thank you," she whispered. "You have no idea what this means to her. To us." Curry hugged them both, and as he did, he whispered to Maya, "Promise me you'll keep practicing. I have a feeling we'll be teammates someday." As the crowd began to disperse and the evening wound down, Maya clutched the game-worn jersey to her chest. The simple picture she had asked for had become something infinitely more valuable, a moment of human connection that transcended basketball, race, and economic circumstances. Videos of the encounter began circulating on social media within minutes, and by the next morning, Maya's story had been shared millions of times. News outlets across the country picked up the story, but they all focused on the same theme. In a world often divided by differences, a superstar athlete had reminded everyone of our shared humanity. But for Maya, the most important part wasn't the viral fame or the media attention. It was the way Stephen Curry had looked her in the eyes and seen not just a fan, but a person worthy of respect, kindness, and encouragement. In that moment, he had given her something far more valuable than a picture or even a jersey. He had given her the unshakable belief that her dreams were valid and achievable. As Maya and Dorothy finally made their way to the parking garage, Maya turned back to look at the Chase Center one more time. 3 hours ago, she had entered as a hopeful young fan. She was leaving as someone who had experienced the transformative power of genuine human kindness. "Grandma," Maya said as they reached their car, "I'm going to practice even harder now. Mr. Curry believed in me." Dorothy smiled through her tears, knowing that her granddaughter had just experienced something that would shape the rest of her life. In a world that often seemed harsh and unfair, they had witnessed proof that sometimes dreams really do come true. especially when they're met with the kind of grace and generosity that reminds us all of our better angels. The story of Maya and Stephen Curry would continue to inspire people around the world. But for Maya herself, it marked the beginning of a journey that would see her not just pursuing her basketball dreams, but carrying forward the lesson she learned that night, that true greatness isn't measured by points scored or games won, but by the lives you touch and the hope you inspire in others.